Hello and welcome to Forever Motorsports and some very interesting news. A new year, a new season, a new sprint format. One of the biggest sort of updates really coming out of the media, well, the advisory committee meeting which happened yesterday. And yeah, I think a very big overhaul to the sprint format. And I think one that's going to really make quite a big difference and make it quite an enjoyable weekend to watch because it will still be, sort of example, the qualifying will still be the major session on a Saturday, and going into the main race on a Sunday, for example. It'll be interesting to see what the response is, whether this means that the sprint race is kind of being downplayed, for example, or is this giving, the main race, the feature race, the respect it deserves with regards to how qualifying plays out. It'll also be interesting to see how the sprint format actually sort of makes a difference in terms of qualifying, in terms of really being able to understand what the best racing tire is, for example, and what the best sort of racing conditions are for these cars. Now, before we go to some of the other announcements, there are a couple of big ones, for example, including a reduce in the amount of laps for DRS is enabled, as well as an additional power increase, power unit allocation for drivers in the next 2 seasons also being agreed. Right, so before we do that, please just smash like on the video. Please do subscribe to the channel as well. As we look at the sprint format, the new season will have a reordering of things, which will see the weekend, or a sprint weekend, look like this. It will be free practice 1 before a sprint qualifying on Friday. So practice 1, sprint qualifying on a Friday. We will then have the sprint race on Saturday, followed by main race qualification, Grand Prix qualification, and then Grand Prix on Sunday. So basically, it's kind of like almost like 2 race days type things in terms of the build-up. So you're going to go qualification, race, qualification, race. So it's 1 practice to figure out what's going on, then qualification, race, another qualification, another race. I quite like it. I'll be interested to see how it sort of plays out. I'm interested to see what this will mean in terms of how the teams sort of get through the weekend. Obviously, this now means that there will be racing before qualifying session. Which means that, for example, damage on cars and major issues with cars during races, for example, suddenly going to mean a lot of issues or potential issues going into qualifying a few hours later. So there's quite a lot of different sort of ramifications that this could sort of present, and I'm very interested to see how this ends up playing out, and whether this becomes something very popular or whether this is something that people might look and go, no, I'm not sure this really works. Again, whenever I see major rule changes, I always like to see how things go. For example, there's plenty of rules in the past or laws in the past from various sports, which when they first came out, you're going, no, I don't think that's going to work. And then you see the practice and you see how it sort of changes the trends, and you sit there having to take a step back, put your hands up, and go, actually, that was quite cool. They were also been updated to technical and sporting regulations. There was a proposal to allocate, increase the allocation of power units per driver and that has been up from 3 to 4 per season, 2024 and 2025. DRS activation of the race will also be 1 lap as opposed to 2 laps after the start of the race, and restart following a safety car. And there are a couple of other minor ones which have been approved by the commission. It does say that not all the regulations to change are subject to approval by the World Motorsports Council, but generally this will probably be the way things will go this season. So very, very interesting to see how, again, extra power units as well as more DRS earlier, which means you've got less time to sort of get out in front and kind of get yourself out of that DRS zone and to try and make way. So for example, Verstappen is usually quite far ahead within a couple of laps. Well, he's going to have to do it a bit quicker if he's going to be able to try and avoid DRS. So hopefully that brings cars into play sooner, and sort of overtaking into play sooner into races, and keeps things as competitive as possible for cars that are trying to catch the leaders and the cars in front of them. Let me know what you think of these changes down in the comments below. What do you think of the new sprint format? What do you think of the regulation changes, the extra power unit, for example, as well as the DRS changes? Let me know what you think down in the comments below. Please do smash a like on the video. Please do subscribe to the channel as well. Thank you very much for watching. My name is Steve. I'll chat to you soon.